We have that power.
Show elevation.
That way he doesn't have to consult with,
We have that power.
getting majority votes. That way he doesn't have to consult with, getting majority votes. Say catching up with people, he can just.
After development.
Did you? Well, I remember the picture. Did you? Well, I remember the picture. I didn't know that was an actual.
We just weren't sure what was going to happen.
Sorry, Tom, we're running late. We have technical problems.
We just weren't sure what was going to happen.
Sorry, Tom, we're running late. We have technical problems. He was going to come at 7:30, and I said, well, you never know how fast things are going to
How many
go.
doors did
He was going to come at 7:30, and I said, well, you never know how fast things are going to go, so.
She told me you were going to be
Okay, we're ready. Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. I call to order the meeting of the Manassas Park Governing Body for June 2nd, 2020. First, we have our usual statement
2020.
for the General Assembly's approval of the governor's amendments to the biennial budget. The governing body may now meet electronically without a quorum actually assembled in a single location and without the in-person governing body members voting on the participation of those who are remoting in.
Governing body members
The following
voting on the
benchmarks for the meeting this
participation of
evening
those
have
who
been
are
met.
remoting in.
First, the governor has
The
declared
following
a state of
benchmarks for the
emergency
meeting
for the
this
current
evening have been met.
COVID-19 panic
First,
in
the governor
accordance
has
with the Code
declared
of
a state of
Virginia.
emergency for the
Second, the
current
declared
COVID-19
emergency
panic
makes it
in
impractical
accordance
or
with the Code of
potentially
Virginia.
unsafe for the governing body
Second,
to
the
assemble
declared
in a
emergency
single
makes it
location,
impractical or
and
potentially
guidance from
unsafe for the
state
governing
and
body
federal
to
government
assemble in a
support
single
determines
location.
this.
And
Therefore, the
guidance
governing
from
body
state
will
and
be
federal
meeting with
government
various
support
members
determines
participating
this.
electronically
Therefore, the
through
governing
GoToMeeting.
body will be meeting with
Third,
various
the
members
meeting is to
participating
discuss or transact
electronically
the
through
business
GoToMeeting.
statutorily required or
Third, the
necessary to
meeting is to
continue
discuss or
operations
transact the business
of the governing
statutorily
body.
required
Fourth,
or
the governing
necessary
body
to
will make
continue
available a
operations
recording for
of the governing
transcript of the
body.
meeting on
Fourth,
its website
the governing body will
in
make
accordance
available a recording
with
for
Code of
transcript
Virginia.
of the meeting on its
Fifth,
website
the notice
in
has been and will
accordance,
continue to be
with Code of
provided to the
Virginia.
public using available
Fifth,
methods.
the notice has
Lastly,
been and will
we have
continue
made
to
and
be
will
provided
continue
to
to
the
make
public using
arrangements
available
for public
methods.
access
Lastly,
through
we have
electronic
made and will
means,
continue to
including
make
the ability to
arrangements
comment.
for public
Those
access through
participating
electronic means,
electronically are
including the
Councilmember
ability to
Miriam
comment.
Machado,
Those
Councilmember
participating
Hasib
electronically
Javed, and
are
Councilmember Hector
Councilmember Miriam
Sendejas.
Machado,
Those
Councilmember
participating
Hasib
in
Javed,
person
and Councilmember
are Vice
Hector
Mayor Preston
Sendejas.
Banks,
Those
Councilmember Donald
participating
Shoemaker,
in person
Councilmember
are Vice
Alana
Mayor
Mensing,
Preston Banks,
and Mayor Jeanette
Councilmember
Rischel.
Donald Shoemaker, Councilmember Alana
We have
Mensing,
now
and Mayor
approval of the
Jeanette
agenda.
Rischel.
Are there any changes to the agenda?
We have now approval of the agenda. Are there
We
any
do not have closed
changes to the
session for our
agenda?
city attorney, so do we have a motion?
Okay, we do not have closed session for our city attorney, so do we have a motion?
Do we have a second from Councilmember Shadow, motion from Councilmember
Second from-
Mensing, all in favor?
Councilmember Shadow,
Opposed?
motion from Councilmember Mensing, all in favor?
Abstained, motion
Opposed?
carries. Next, join us in a moment of silence, and
Abstained,
Councilmember
motion
Mensing,
carries.
would you lead us in the pledge?
Next, join us in a moment of silence, and Councilmember Mensing, would you lead us in the pledge? Motion carries.
United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Next, we have public comment time. There will be
Okay.
several opportunities to publicly
Next, we have
comment.
public comment
because we
time.
have
There will be several
public hearings, but
opportunities
this
to
right now
publicly
is
comment,
general public
because we
comment
have
time.
several
Has anyone
public
signed
hearings,
up
but
or
this
sent an
right
email
now
or
is
called or-
general public comment time. Has anyone signed up or sent an email or called
Moving
or?
on then,
Okay.
three public hearings. The first
Moving on
public
then.
hearing is
We
consideration
have
of
three public hearings.
effective
The
real
first
estate tax rate
public
of
hearing is
$1.55 per
consideration
$100
of effective
valuation
real estate
for
tax rate of
FY
$1.55 per $100 valuation for FY '21.
City Manager,
I
for the
declare the
benefit
public
of the
hearing
viewing
open.
public, did you want to review any
City
of the
Manager,
numbers
for
in
the benefit
ad
of the
that
viewing
appeared in the
public,
ad?
did you want to review
I was planning on
any
doing that
numbers
for the
in
next one,
ad
where it goes to
that
the summary of
appeared in the
proposed
ad?
taxes and fees. I was planning on doing that
That's
for
fine,
the next
thank you.
one, where it goes to the summary of proposed taxes and
thank you.
fees.
Okay.
Agenda item
Are there
40.
any
That's fine,
governing
thank
body
you.
questions?
Bring it up on the screen.
Yes, thank you.
Comments? Is
Are there any
public
governing
comment
body
for this first
questions?
public hearing?
Comments? Is
Anything
there
come
any
in
public
through
comment for this
telephone,
first public
email,
hearing?
Facebook, anything?
Anything come in through telephone, email, Facebook, anything?
No public comment.
Okay.
Do we have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
No public comment. Do we have a
All in
motion to
favor?
close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Moving on to the
All
second public
opposed,
hearing.
Abstained, motion
This
carries.
is on the proposed
Moving on
tax
to the
and
second public
fees.
hearing.
I just
This
want to
is on the
mention that the
proposed
ad was
tax
sent
and
in prior
fees.
to the governing body having a
Just want to
discussion
mention
about
that
not
the ad
raising
was
any
sent
of the
in
fees. So,
prior to the governing body having a
fees that you will
discussion
see
about
in
not
this
raising
document.
any of the fees. So
with that, I declare the public
fees
hearing
that you will
open.
see in this document. So with that, I declare the public hearing open. Prior to the governing body, just want to mention that not raising was sent in prior to the governing body having a discussion about not raising any of the fees. So that I declare the public hearing will see With that, I declare the public hearing open.
Can you guys see what's on the screen?
Yes, thank you.
For the benefit of the public members of the governing body, so there's no change to the real estate tax rate for the personal
Body,
property
you
tax.
see that there's no change to the real estate tax rate for the personal property tax rate and
Original budget
machinery
that was presented.
tax rate. The advertisement, the original budget that was presented, the city manager budget, that was originally worked on, had amounts in the stormwater budget and solid waste fund that required increases in rates because of the COVID-19 recession impacts. We wanted to help our residents out because of the collectively we're all struggling here financially because of the recession impacts. So although these were the advertised rates, the updated budget that I'll be talking about next will reflect these rates that exist right now for FY20. So the current budget does not have the rate increase, so you all can still decide though, because we advertised which of these rates you would like to go with. So I'll show you kind of some of the implications as well, but I'll show you an updated budget spreadsheet tonight that reflects these flat rates from FY20.
Governing body questions or comments? Yes.
Are there any governing body questions or comments?
Solid waste.
Yes.
Solid waste. If we do not raise the general on solid waste, subsidize solid waste, will the general fund
I'll show you that.
subsidize it?
Questions or comments?
And for the actual budget discussion,
I'll show you that in the next version.
But the short answer
And for the actual budget discussion, I'll show you the impacts. But the short answer is no. We would cut other items. And then for the solid waste, or the stormwater fund, we likely have to pull a little bit from fund balance. I'll show you the actual numbers next presentation.
Vice Mayor Banks, do you
But
have
I cut other things too.
Vice Mayor Banks, do you have any questions? Councilmember Mensing? No. Councilmember Machado, do you have any questions or comments?
Hello?
Miriam, do you have any questions?
Hello?
Miriam, do you have any questions?
Sound like they're connected.
I think we've lost
Hector,
her.
Miriam, or Steve, can you hear us?
Sound like they're connected.
I think they've been disconnected.
I think we've lost
Hector,
her.
Miriam, or Steve, can you hear us?
I think they've been disconnected.
Can you hear us now?
Try press that.
Councilmember?
Can you hear us now?
Do you have any comments or questions, Councilmember Machado?
Okay. Good job. Do you have any comments or questions, Councilmember Machado?
Councilmember Sendejas?
No, I don't. I have no question. Thank you.
Councilmember Sendejas?
Councilmember Javed?
I have no question. Thank you.
Councilmember
Okay, thank you. Are there any public comments
No
that have
question.
come in?
Okay, thank you. Are there any
Seeing none
public
and hearing
comments
none,
that have come in?
Do we have a motion to close the public hearing?
Seeing none and hearing none?
Second.
Do we have
All-
a motion to
all
close
in
the
favor?
public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hasid?
Aye.
Hasid?
All opposed? Abstained? Public hearing is closed.
All opposed?
We move on to
Abstained?
the next one. The third
Public hearing is closed.
is proposed
We move on to the
FY21
next one. The
budget. I
third
declare the
public
public
hearing
hearing open.
is proposed FY21 budget. I declare the public hearing open. Public hearing is closed. All opposed? Next one, the third public hearing. We're getting comments, but it's very hard to hear us. Next one, the third public hearing.
Probably the face mask.
Hear us? Lower your mask.
Okay, I will do that, okay.
Probably the N99 filter on my face mask.
Okay, I will do that, okay.
It's this N99 filter on my face
So
mask.
the public hearing has been declared open. The third public hearing is proposed FY21 budget. Has been declared open. The third public hearing is the public hearing FY21 budget. City manager has I declared the public hearing open, and city manager has comments.
So this weekend, I'll actually record a presentation, a PowerPoint with kind of highlighting the changes. I still have to go through these spreadsheets and highlight the details. But what we did this time is we highlighted in yellow the changes that were made to the flat FY21 budget from, remember, this is the flat budget with some increases and some changes, plus incorporation of the CARES Act budget. And FY20 we're going to talk about later tonight, the CARES Act will impact FY20 and FY21. So you're going to see a lot of yellows. I kept the economic impacts, so you can see kind of what the sales tax, people, meals tax impacts are. I haven't made any amendments to that. We're sticking with our forecasted impacts and see how we want to revisit this in the fall or at the latest in December to see how we're doing from these three components for FY21. And then, of course, in March for FY22, we will say we made some minor adjustments. You can see the bus camera violation. You'll see some small adjustments. Thank you, Councilmember Messing, for bringing that one up to correct different errors that we picked up on. This is an FY20 item, so you can disregard this. So that's why I need to go through this sheet, because I need to see the highlight certain things, because we were amending the FY20 budget and this one. You see this FEMA reimbursement, so that's going to be for the expenditures that we're incurring this year that are FEMA reimbursable in FY20, plus the forecasted expenditures related to FEMA reimbursable expenditures for COVID-19. We're assuming that we're not going to see, we know we're not going to see any money reimbursements in FY20. We're hoping to see the reimbursements come in FY21. So we're putting the full amount in FY21 of expected reimbursements. But again, that reimbursement may not even come to FY22. But we want to have it as a placeholder for right now, so we don't forget that we're eventually going to get this FEMA reimbursement. We're going to push hard because everything seems to be, from the federal standpoint, capping at December 31st, 2020. The FEMA reimbursements right now, the guidelines are through also the end of the calendar year, so it's very focused on the calendar year itself. And you'll see kind of what happens with COVID-19 in the fall and winter to see if the federal government will change its perspective and push the timelines further back for CARES Act and FEMA reimbursement funding as well.
So we will have COVID expenses in 20.
Can you speak as loud as you
No
can?
revenue.
You don't have
revenue will show up in 21. So
Can you speak as loud as you can?
I'm sorry.
You don't have.
We're going to have expenses in FY20 that are not offset with revenue. So we're going to have expenses in FY20 that are not offset with revenue, correct?
Yes.
So then we're going to have too much revenue in FY21, but we may or may not have expenses in 21. So will this pass the auditor test? I mean, we won't be in danger of misreporting in the sense that we couldn't get the money because they didn't give it to us.
No. And so, yeah, for FY20, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to do an updated appropriations. So the June 16th meeting, if we want to meet a week or two after that, as soon as you all adopt the FY20 budget amendment 2, which will be the last agenda item that we're talking about tonight, before we go to the manager report. Once you all adopt that, we will do an appropriations adjustment for FY20. So once you all adopt that, we will do an appropriations adjustment for FY20 to capture these expenditures that we're incurring this year, of which we're not seeing any reimbursement, so that we're not spending as a city more than what you all have appropriated, because that's where the city's been dinged by the auditors in the past for expending funds that weren't appropriated by.
The expenditures will still be there, but you're right. So if we still haven't been reimbursed for May and June next year, and we probably spent maybe 50% of that in FY21, we know we're not going to get that additional 40,000 in FY21. So we'd have to adjust our appropriations 40,000 reflect that reality. So it's just something we have to keep adjust tabs on. But I'm hopeful that they'll start accepting. We're constantly sending data to people. Keen is doing that on a monthly basis. So we're hoping that the review process for those funds and the actual disbursement will happen in the winter, spring. The review process for those funds and the actual disbursement, we actually get some money in our account by the end of the fiscal year, not that we do have to zero that out and adjust the appropriations accordingly.
Do we have?
You put your mask up. I thought you were done talking.
I was trying to be good and be a good example.
I was going to move on to Preston.
I'm sorry. I was trying to be good.
I was going to move on to Preston.
I'm sorry. I forgot.
My apologies.
No, that's okay. Are we going to?
My apologies.
No, that's on a cash basis. Are we going to be able to float the federal expenses? Okay, on a cash basis. Is it because are we going to be able to? We might have otherwise incurred some of those expenses otherwise, but they're not COVID related. Otherwise incurred some of those expenses otherwise, but they're not COVID related.
FEMA reimbursement, you can see there that the total spending between FY20 and 21 is going to be that $90,000. That's what we're forecasting for FEMA reimbursement expenditures. For other expenditures like our Parks and Rec, COVID-19 response, that's now being reimbursed by the CARES Act. So the CARES Act 1.5 million is a huge benefit for us from a cash position. We're not spending that all in FY20, so you'll see in the FY20 budget amendment, there's going to be a transfer. My actual show up here too, transfer from FY20 to 21. That's extra cash for us that we'll expend. Most of the CARES Act money, we're actually going to expend in FY21. That's going to help us out from most of the cash perspective. We got that money last Friday. That's going to help us out from a cash perspective.
Okay. Vice Mayor Banks, do you have any comments or questions?
I was going to ask about the VDOT funding for Connor Drive extension. Is that being affected any, or is that still on schedule?
From our understanding, it's still on schedule.
But there is some uncertainty there, is that correct?
I think that one's far along.
But there is some uncertainty there, is that correct?
I think that we're in a different world now.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And you can never predict exactly what's going to happen, but because we've already expended significant funds towards that project, it would be very odd for them to pull that back. It would just be those projects that we were planning on initiating, which makes them have some issues.
Okay.
Councilmember Mensing, do you have any questions or comments?
No.
Okay. Councilmember Machado, do you have any questions or comments?
No.
Okay. Councilmember Machado, do you have any? Councilmember Sendejas?
No questions, thank you.
Councilmember Javed?
No questions. No, not at this time.
Councilmember Javed? Second round?
Well, I had a follow-up to Preston's question, which is, when will we see dirt moving on Connor Drive? Because I feel like we've been talking about this for at least 5 years. Where are we? I mean, I know on the money side, but when are we actually going to see progress, visible progress?
The goal is FY21. Calvin, are you on?
Visible progress.
The goal is FY21. Calvin, are you on?
Yes, I am.
All right, perfect. Can you give a forecast for when you expect us to start Connor Drive actually breaking ground? Can you give a forecast for when you expect?
So currently waiting to hear anything on the actual signing of the wetlands permit. As soon as the wetlands permit is signed, and we get approval of the permit, we're go ahead to release the utilities for relocation. We were hoping to be out to bid by the end of this year. November was our actual target. But as we really need to give the utilities 6 months to relocate. So unfortunately, as the days tick on, it's more and more unlikely that we'll be out for advertisement in November unless VDOT gives us permission to advertise prior to the finish of all the utility relocation, which is a potential option that we've discussed with VDOT.
So to make clear, the timeline is like out of our control, it's out of city control? So to make clear, the timeline is
we have
like
to
out of our
have,
control, it's out of
there's
city
utilities
control?
that are relocated that are within currently delineated wetlands. So we cannot release anyone to work inside of those areas until we have the wetlands permit in hand. And currently, one of the parcel owners is holding out and refusing to sign the joint wetlands permit.
Okay, that's been the status for a while now, hasn't it? Okay. Yes, thank you, Calvin. Status for a while now, hasn't it?
So continuing on with this, you can see up here
Yes, thank you,
the
Calvin.
1 million dollars. So remember, we're getting 1.5 million. We're spending just over 400,000 in FY20 per the budget proposal that you'll see later tonight. If that's approved, then the transfer to FY21 would be the $1,073,000 for FY21 expenditures. So good news, $0 utilization in reserves for FY21 for this updated budget. So that was done by further capital cuts, which I'll show you when I go to the CIP tab. Because remember, we're not utilizing CARES Act funding for revenue losses, so I didn't apply it towards the meals tax and vehicle, but I went ahead and did some other cuts to bring us in balance for 21, because the ultimate scare is if the real estate market crashes. Right, there's just so much going on in our world right now. That is the ultimate scare, and that's an FY22 impact if that does happen. So I'm trying to position our reserve position to be as strong as possible for FY22, and if that doesn't happen, then we're in a great position. We have now a strong fund balance, and we can now really start aggressively tackling some of the things if the world gets back to normal. And we can now really start aggressively tackling some of the going down here. Again, I need to clean up the spreadsheet a little bit more, and then I'll do a presentation. I'll go over all this CARES Act stuff, but you'll see in the spreadsheet when I email it to y'all, you'll see a lot of line items that we call CARES Act are going to be highlighted for different things. So IT equipment for social distancing, for actual social distancing equipment like the plexiglass stuff that you're seeing, different things. This highlighted portion was Patricia's request for the presidential election, so I incorporated the changes from the previous budget to show that increase. And you'll see some CARES Act social distancing election equipment as well.
Does that give her the second full-time person?
Yes, not the CARES Act, but the other one.
Right, that's not the other one, yeah.
Yes, not the CARES Act. I had a budget error before. I had the part-time project manager still in there for part-time. That one, I'll just let you know, if phase 3 is approved on June 16th, I will be coming with some additional requests. One would be to continue the project manager to help us out with the City Hall project. So that's just a heads up. Right now, I've zeroed that out. You can see this budget template here is based off the no downtown. So I didn't update the downtown. I'm not presuming any vote for the positive, but if that is approved, then I'll fix FY21 with some of those things that we're going to have to do for that, and then I'll update the model over the next few months just to show you kind of what that impact will look like. Update the model over the next few months just to show you kind of what that. So more CARES Acts, more emergency management expenditures. That's the majority of the changes are really related to the CARES Act and the FEMA. You can see the small business grant program here that we're looking to do to get our economy back up.
Are we hiring somebody more in HR?
No. We're actually not hiring anyone. The only plan we're trying to do with CARES Act funding is expand some of the part-time positions in social services to full-time because they're already trained. So giving them additional hours, slight promotion, those additional hours will be at the promoted position section, and I'll go over that tonight.
That wasn't what it was, the HR department.
No. So what's going on? Yeah, you'll see with the city manager and the HR position budgets for the salaries, you'll see those are higher, but you'll see finance is lower. We're shifting employees from the finance department. Well, payroll manager is moving over to the HR division, so now we have 2 employees, so you have a little bit of cross-training there. And then the budget analyst is moving from finance over to the city manager's office there. So that really, the budget really falls on my shoulders. So that's why you see this increase here. But this was like this in the actual budget that I presented. That's why you see this increase here. But there's no change to that in the actual budget that I presented before. Let's see. There's no change. More CARES Act items. More CARES Act. Some technology stuff for CARES Act as well. CARES Act over equipment. And again, I'm going to go over more detail of that tonight, so I don't want to spend too much time on there. I want to say that's it, except I'm going to go down and reserves here. I want to say that's it, except I'm going to go down and reserves here. One thing I did update in this model, when I saw this, I highlighted this. Pay attention to the fuel and the fleet. Pay attention to, because now that we went with the enterprise program, if we adopt the plan that we've been talking about the last few days about ramping up, you will see significant savings here. And we model that in for fuel and for vehicle actual maintenance. We cut that over the long model, so that's a significant help it doesn't help us in 21 because we're deferring when we do that, but I plugged in the savings over the 10-year model of the enterprise fleet program, where we actually get more vehicles, new vehicles, and we have budget savings. That's the type of innovation that we remain committed to, actually expanding our capabilities while we're doing reducing costs. Actually expanding our capabilities while we're doing reducing costs. So DSS, you'll see the different staff support and also the rent mortgage grant program and the utility support program, which we'll talk about tonight as well. For our residents. There's, we'll talk more about that tonight. For our residents. There's, we'll talk more about that tonight. And there was actually a little bit of a surplus that we're contributing to our reserves at 38,000. So we're hoping that FY20 budget should be in balance or surplus. When we did our model with the expected loss in revenue, we scaled back our expenditures dramatically in FY20. We froze hiring except for Randy's department because of all the benefit influx. We did all we could to keep us under budget, to try to get into a balance or a slight deficit with the recession impact, with the CARES Act funding, especially the reimbursement to the Parks and Rec expenditure. We hope to be at least at a balance, or if not a slight surplus in FY20, right, with the reimbursement of all of our COVID-related 19 expenditures for Parks and Rec. So plus with this, if this continues as planned, we're really set up well for FY22. And we'll have a lot more budget flexibility. So March next year comes around, and we see no impacts to our assessments, then I recommend we do a budget amendment right there, try to pay increases or other things that we wanted to do in this budget, the original submission. But other than that, we should be prepared to not have to talk about things like layoffs and other things with these actions that we're taking. Not have to talk about things like layoffs and other things. You can see I made the adjustment to the schools appropriations for the changes that we talked about earlier last month in May, early May.
I thought they were 12,450,000.
I believe that was the original
450,000.
flat budget, but then we added about we added some additional. I just copied this straight off of the updated schools budget table. I just copied this straight off of the. You can double check my numbers, but that was from the actual resolution. You double check my numbers.
Okay, if I may interrupt for just a second, I received an email that we're experiencing some serious feedback on the stream, and Keith says we need to end the stream and restart. I think we should pause. Pause.
See if he wants us to restart
Yes.
go to meeting or YouTube.
I think we should pause. Pause. Yeah.
If he wants us to restart
Yes.
go to meeting or YouTube.
Okay.
Preston, did you get everything?
Yeah, thank you.
Did you get a magazine?
Yeah, I got one. That's for you. Yeah, I got one.